Okay, look at me. Everybody look at me. Look at me. Don't get overwhelmed. Don't let yourself go there. Remember, this isn't rocket science, okay? You don't have to memorize everything we just discussed. You don't have to be a master at an Excel spreadsheet, thank goodness. That's nowhere in the things we have to master, okay? But here's the thing. You don't have to try to keep this all in your head. You don't have to be an expert in this. But your Perfect 10 sheet will just show you what your numbers are, and it will help you see when you are getting off track, okay? It will help you see what we need to tweak when you're keeping it current. It's a tool that you can use to help you reach your peak performance, okay? And this is what will catapult you to that peak performance. Let me ask you this. Have you ever seen your best? Do you know what your best looks like? I mean, doesn't morbid curiosity just pique your interest? Don't you just want to know? If you were playing like a champion, what would you be capable of? Think Tiger Woods when you think tracking. Okay? Don't you think he knows his numbers? That guy has reinvented his swing more than anybody else's swings altogether. Okay? But for him, it's not about being better than everybody else. It's about being his best and constantly repositioning himself to be his best, to reach his peak performance. That's what we're talking about here. That's the power that's waiting for you when you embrace the power of tracking. You with me on that? Okay. The second tracking tool that you're going to use is your weekly plan sheet. Notice I did say weekly plan sheet. You're going to use your weekly plan sheet to track your time. Now, if you're a new consultant and you might not be familiar with the weekly plan sheet, you can just go into your InTouch homepage and up in the search box, type in weekly plan sheet, and it's going to pull up a grid, a box. Down the left-hand side, it's got all the different hours of the day. Across the top, it has the different days of the week, and this is literally a grid of all of your waking hours that you're going to chart out what you're doing with your time. You're going to evaluate two things. The first thing you're going to evaluate is how much time are you actually spending on your business. Most people spend a lot less time than they think. We spend a lot of time thinking about our business. But how much time are we actually spend working our business? Thinking doesn't count. Okay? You are not paid for how much you think. Unfortunately, we're not even paid for what we know. We're paid for what we do with what we know. We're paid on results. Okay? So the first thing we're going to track is how much time are you spending on your business. Second thing you're going to track is what are you doing with that time. Are we doing the right things for our business in that time? And the best way to figure out those two things, what you're doing with your time, is it business? And what are you doing? Best way to figure this out is to do a time study. Okay? If you're not familiar with the time study, this will rock your world. Okay, here's what you do. You sit down on Sunday night, you take about 30 minutes, and you plan out the coming week, Monday through Sunday. Okay? Plan it out. Put all the things that your pre-existing commitments on there. You know, if you've got work, if you've got another job, school, whatever the other, just the absolute commitments that you know you have to fulfill, go ahead and block them out in there. You know, put your family stuff, whatever, okay? Then you block out your business in and around it. If your goal is to work a 10-hour week, block those 10 hours out. If your goal is to work a 20-hour week, block those hours out. Now, if you're a hobby consultant, this would be pointless to you because you just work here, there, whenever. Okay, remember, sporadic work time, sporadic pay, right? So if you want to switch from hobby to part-time or full-time, this would be the first switch you would make, is you actually have a plan. Okay? Here's the key, girls. The lack of a plan is still very much a plan. Okay? The difference is we're living reactively versus living proactively. We're living on purpose instead of in reaction to everything that just happens to us throughout a given week. Okay? So you block out your time, whether it's 5 hours, 10 hours, 20 hours, 40 hours, whatever you want your Mary Kay work week to look like. You block it out on this schedule. Then you start going back in and filling in what you're going to do with that time. If this is a new exercise for you, you may get stuck right here. You may say, well, I'd be happy to work 20 hours. I just don't know what to do with my 20 hours. Okay? If you will get the time blocked out, your director will be giddy at the opportunity to work with you in this department and to help you figure out how to use your time most effectively. I can promise you that one. Okay? So just try this. Block out your time. Then if you're not sure what to do with it, she can help you strategize. She can help you prioritize what to do with your time. Now, once you've got it blocked out, this literally becomes your blueprint for your week. Okay? What I want you to do during your time study is you're going to keep this with you. You don't just say, oh, isn't it pretty, and then put it away. Okay, you actually keep it with you. If you go with a binder, if you travel with a binder everywhere you go, it can go in your binder, it can go in your planner, it can go in your purse, wherever you keep all your stuff. You want to take your weekly plan sheet with you. And then what you do is you keep it with you and highlight or shade in the actual amount of time you spend versus what you planned to spend, and jot down what you're doing in those chunks of time. You want to get real specific, do it in 30-minute chunks of time. So block out what your desired plan is. Then keep it with you all week and track and measure what you actually are doing against what you had planned to do, and then jot down and make notes exactly what it is that you're doing in there. And you're going to go back at the end of the week and you're going to look at, are these IPAs or are they ESAs? IPA, you may be familiar with that term. It stands for income producing activities. ESA, this is our own term. This is a term we use in the Lamar area, energy sucking activities. They're not getting you anywhere. You are just busy being busy. You are maintaining your own existence. One of the things that I focus on with the people that I'm personally working with and mentoring and developing is that really everything you do in life falls into one of three main categories. You're either making your money, you're enjoying your money, or you are maintaining your existence. One of the three. If you're familiar with Pareto's principle, otherwise known as the 80-20 rule, usually if there's a project that needs to be done, you will get 80% of the project done in the last 20% of the time, in the deadline time, the crunch time, right? You may know that 80% of the work is done by 20% of the people, right? The reason I'm telling you this right now is that if there are no deadlines, if there are no requirements, if there are no expectations that you put on yourself as the boss, you will live in the 80% of the time, which is called someday. It will never be done. You'll never become a finisher, right? 80% of our time, just simply by living out a reactionary mode, simply living by default, we live in the category of maintaining our existence. We're not proactively creating the life we want to live. We're certainly not enjoying the life we want to live. We're just simply busy being busy. If you were with me at Sharpen Your Edge, you know exactly what I'm talking about. And you have an entirely new outlook and approach to living in the other two categories. You're either creating your living or enjoying your life, one of the two, and you are not spending dollar time on penny jobs in the ESAs, energy-sucking activities of just managing your existence, right? So if you feel like you're living in the wrong category there, you make sure and check our website for the dates of the next Sharpen Your Edge so that we can totally redesign your approach to life. Completely different way to live, okay? But for right now, just do this simple time study to figure out, where are you losing time? Okay? Are you putting in enough time, number one? For the vast majority of people, the answer right there is no.